weird sciencey facts that boggle my mind. Water is one of the most common things in our lives. We're made of it, we drink it, we cook with it. We do pretty much everything with water. But it's also one of the most unique substances on the planet. And one of the things that makes it so unique is how it changes in the states that it exists in. Now, when we think about something being frozen or boiling, we think about it in the context of water. If it's below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, water freezes, it becomes a solid. That's what we think of as freezing. But that's just water, right? This car is frozen. Metal just freezes at a much higher temperature than water does. But if you heat it up enough, it becomes a liquid. It acts the same as water does. Sort of. And this is the case for many natural substances. All types of things freeze and boil and become liquids at many different temperatures. Like rocks are frozen, but lava is just melted rock. It's the water of rocks. And the reason this happens is if something heats up, the molecules in it move faster and faster and faster. That makes them take up more space and become less dense. And the less dense they become, the more volume they take up and the less solid they become. Except water doesn't exactly play by those rules. Because where most substances are most dense in their solid form when they're frozen, water is most dense as water, as a liquid. And this has to do with the way that the hydrogen and oxygen atoms in water react with each other and how they can stack together and kind of fit in a bunch of different ways as a fluid. They can swap atoms with other fluids to fit however they need to fit together, kind of like a big polyamorous relationship. A very literal cuddle puddle. But as it freezes, the one hydrogen and the two oxygen atoms become married to each other. No more swinger parties. And that gives those molecules a very specific crystallized structure that doesn't move. And as such, as it freezes, they can no longer stack together and water expands as it becomes ice. And it's like the only natural thing that does that. It's the only natural substance that is less dense as a solid than it is a liquid. And this is a big reason why life on Earth exists. Because ice is less dense, it floats. If water acted like every other substance, when it froze on the surface when the weather got cold, that ice would sink. Sheets of ice would build up on the bottom of bodies of water, and most of the bodies of water on Earth would become solid blocks of ice at some point or another. There would be no marine life. And because all life came from the ocean and came from underwater, and the majority of the air we breathe comes from algae and plankton, if water didn't play by its own rules, we wouldn't exist. And that is pretty mind-boggling.